Hello, everybody. Welcome. Oh my God, it is so exciting. This is like, I can't even tell you how exciting this is. So, welcome to the Pac-Man World 2 live stream. Oh, yeah. So, I'm going to pass it over, I guess, to Bobby. Bobby, do you want to? Well, maybe I'll say a few words and then I'll pass it over to Bobby.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
All right. So, first of
Sure.
all, hold on. This is like, so we literally just got all this working like 5 seconds ago. So we're still just a little bit. And where is the, that's
Are you
there.
live on Twitch, David? Did you?
Yes,
I,
he's
Oh, okay.
we're good? We're live on Twitch?
yeah.
Maybe I'm just delayed. Yes.
Okay,
you are.
cool.
My apologies. I just
No
got a
worries.
delay.
So first, I want to say a very special thank you to Jared Rutledge because he sent me an email 10 years ago. And he was just a fan and he reached out. We had an email exchange. It was nice. And then recently, he reached out again asking if I would be interested in doing a live stream. And I was like, yeah, of course. And then we were just talking. We got talking about Pac-Man World 2. And then it was just like, damn, you know what? I got to strike up the band again. And we got to get Pac-Man World 2. Because in 2021, for the 20th anniversary, I wanted to do something special. But, you know, life and career and all these things, you get busy. And sometimes it just doesn't work out. And it didn't. But I'm like, all right, well, you know what? There's still a lot of people out there that love Pac-Man World 2, and with Pac-Man World 2 Repack coming out, me, myself, and my two wonderful business partners were thinking of, repacking the music, as it were. So I guess with that, I will turn it over to Bobby, and let me also bring Bobby onto the screen a little bit over here, and as well as so my partners are Bobby Bandari and Emanuele Viale. Wait, they can't see you yet. Hold on a second.
I can't see us.
Oh dear, how do we do this? Okay, like this. All right. So we're on a live Zoom call. These are my two amazing business partners. They're right here on Zoom with me. And the three of us are going to talk shop. Now, just the way the nature of everything being set up, they won't always be on the screen, because I'm going to have to show stuff over here, and it's just the way it is.
Right.
So with that said, Bobby, let's start this thing, man. Let's go.
It's an exciting day. Okay. So, I think the thing that everybody wants to hear, first and foremost, is the prologue music.
Is the
Most
what?
famous. The prologue music.
Ah,
Right?
the prologue. Yeah.
That's
Should
where
we
we're gonna
just
start.
All right. So we can start with that. Do we want to go with the original classic recording or my reassembly? Because if we want the reassembly, I have to say a few things. How about we go with the original first?
Sure. We can.
How about we do like a
bit of that.
minute of that,
Right.
and then I'll get to the reassembly. Okay. So, and by the way, if I'm not doing a good job of replying to your chats, it's because, oh man, I can barely even see them. Oh dear. Oh, you know what? Holy cow, there's people. Yes, Pac-Man World 2 project file. Yes, it's absolutely true. So, first, there's actually people in our chat, and they're actually chatting. Look at that. Hi, everybody. Okay, so look, I used to stream a lot, and I haven't streamed in like a gazillion years. So I kind of forgot how to do everything. I'm going to explain all the stuff you're asking, but wait, hold on, because you know what? The one thing I forgot to do, I forgot to actually get the bloody chat. So I can't see anything. So guys, give me 1 second. Maybe Bobby, as I'm doing this, I don't know, do you want to like talk a little bit about Orb Soundworks, and maybe you both can introduce yourselves? Does that sound like a reasonable?
I think I will pass that over to Emanuele so that I can finish making the Twitter post.
All right, and I got to get the chat out. Emanuele, it's all you, buddy. It's all on you now.
Yeah, so first of all, I think that, like just to start, maybe we could have a little bit of the classic, Pac-Man World 2 main theme, or, the Pac Village playing a little bit, and maybe listen to it and maybe talk a little bit about it, no? Shall we
Hmm.
start with that?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and good timing because now I actually have the chat in front of me. Look at that. You guys, it's been forever since I've streamed, so please forgive me because I don't have it all together. Let's read the chat. Look at what people are saying. Holy cow. Um, People are saying stuff. Oops, I was in the Orb Soundworks channel. That's all good. We
Right.
have we
I
are.
corrected that on the Twitter post. That was my fault.
Oh, okay. David Logan is the best ever, and I'm sorry I've not shown up for like 2 years. The best ever? I don't know if that's
High
true.
praise.
I, I'm, I'm maybe the best David Aaron Logan that happens to be a composer of Pac-Man World 2. Maybe I'm the best of just that one thing in life. Other than that, I don't take the best credit for anything. Love you all. We love you back. There's nothing but love here, guys. Love. And when I talk about love, I'm talking big love. Yeah, big love. And oh wait, people can they all see the big love? Yeah, they can. It's just covering up your face. Anyway, um, that sounded really weird, didn't it? Big love covering up your face. But anyway, come on, guys, we gotta laugh, right? If we can't laugh, what the hell? All right, so Spin Music is saying, "Oh, World Two, yeah, Pac-Man World 2 project file. I'll talk about that. Yep, I will. Yeah, 1080 pipes, baby. We'll talk about all of this. So, I think I'm all caught up on the chat. Out of curiosity, what DAW? Okay, so the DAW I'm working with is this is called Logic Pro, and it's been around for a very long time, and I have painstakingly gone through all of my original archives from Pac-Man World 2, which I saved. I saved everything, guys. Now some things didn't quite make it back properly. We lost a few soldiers along the way, but essentially I've been working like a mofo trying to get this all to happen. Oh, don't call me Mr. Logan, please. Don't ever do that again. Just call me David, please. Do you still remember what sample libraries? Yes, I will tell you guys everything. I will
We're going to go over
reveal.
all of that.
What's that?
I said we're going to go over all of that.
We're gonna
and,
go over
and even show them the originals.
exactly
The real originals.
like the real original from OS9 original. We won't hear anything,
Right.
but you'll be able to see it. Yes, we're gonna cover it all, guys. All of it. Um, Damn, there's so many people here. This is beautiful, you guys. Thank you all for coming. It's just wonderful. Um, no, well, rest in peace. But, it's like we lost a few soldiers, but we won the war. We won the war because, oh, I don't know. Listen to this. Remember that, guys? All right. So, as promised, let's first listen to it was originally. So let's go to the original prologue. We'll listen to a minute or so, and then we'll go into the logic file. All right, I think that's enough of the original. And by the way, wait, can I just give a caveat before we get into the repacked version? Okay, so guys, look, These files are literally 24 years old. Older, because some of them come from the late 90s and mid 90s. Some of them are from 1992 when I got my first sampler. And so I did my best to recreate everything, but you have to understand, my studio from back then, absolutely gone. Maybe we start with an old picture of the studio. I think I have that handy. I think I put it in interesting docs, I believe. Yes. And I show this because look in the left corner there. Look up there in the left. Oh, wait, you can't see my screen. Sorry. Look up in the left-hand corner there. Look. You see it? Namco sent me a giant cardboard cutout of Pac-Man World 2. Huh? Huh? How cool. So cool. This is my studio from the year 2002 or 3, I believe. And back then you needed all this damn hardware. This is where Pac-Man World 2 was created, more or less. I mean, this is a little bit after Pac-Man, but the point is all the equipment is exactly the same. So I'm showing you this to give you a little bit of context, okay? Of you know, everybody called this the Death Star. You know, people who knew me, they called it the Death Star. So I'm giving you a little context here of what the Death Star looked like back then. So this is you know, this is where it all happened, and some of it is still around, right? So like, for example, that red synth you see over in the right hand side, that's called the Virus, this guy over here right there. So there was a bunch of things that were made on that. In here, somewhere in here is the JV 1080, where the 1080 pipes come from. And the 1080 pipes are right here, right down there. I still have it. Oh my God. Anyway, in some situations, you guys, I actually had to pull out the hardware and literally hook it up with the old MIDI cables and patch cables and then transfer stuff with audio. Totally crazy. All right. I'm so like discombobulated. So let's see here. All right. Am I up to date on the you know what? It's going to be very hard for me to stay up to date on all this chat, but I'll do my best. Okay. So we heard a little bit of the original. Now, here it is, guys. So, right, my caveat. The caveat is I did my best to bring it back as best I could. Some things are not going to be exactly the same, but you guys be the judge. Here we go. time. Because we have a lot to get through. So, but I just want to say, you guys are the best. Like, you guys are seriously the best because, you know, if there weren't fans of this music, I never would have done any of this, okay? And it's a combination of a lot of things. You guys, the fans, who are amazing, but my two amazingly supportive business partners. They're truly awesome guys, and I'm so glad to have their support. And it's just, wow, a lot of things happening at the same time. All right, Bobby, I'm handing it back to you.
So there's a couple quick questions. One by Soshida Yoshi. Do you still have the Pac-Man cardboard stand?
I don't. I know, it's so sad. Even though there were posters, they gave me these big giant posters, and I don't even have those as well. I don't have those. I you know, when you move your life, because I was in Hollywood, California when I wrote Pac-Man World 2. I moved back to Toronto, Canada. Then I moved to Rome, Italy. And in the course of all that moving, you sort of have to say to yourself, do I really need that? Like, do I really? And so, but I did keep the roll-up Pac-Man World posters, but they were misplaced. I have no idea where they are. And they've never resurfaced. And it's been like, I looked for them like 10 years ago, couldn't find them. So what are the other questions? Sadly, so.
So, was that the original or the remaster? I guess that was your original.
Yeah, we started with the original master, and then we just listened to the remake.
Okay.
And I want to be clear about one thing to everybody here. So the thing I want to be clear about is I wrote the original Pac-Man World 2, okay, 24 years ago. I have nothing to do with the repack. They didn't call me. I called them and offered, hey, you want me to repack the music? Wah, wah, wah. I got literally no response. That's okay. I still love everybody at Namco. Always have love, guys. Love. Never hate. So I had nothing to do with that. What you're going to hear on this stream tonight is not my repack music. This is me trying to faithfully one-to-one recreate to the best of my ability the exact original master recording. Just to be clear, so everyone's clear, okay? We have big plans over here at Orb Soundworks, and I don't know, Bobby, do you want to maybe talk about some of the things, the ideas we talked about?
Well, sure. Our big plan was to reorchestrate Pac-Man, fully orchestral, and have it recorded by a live orchestra.
Live orchestra!
That's our big plan. But of course, that requires the fans, right? We need to know which tracks to remaster. And then we're gonna have a contest.
We're gonna have some kind of a contest. We have
some kind of contest. Dinner with David, maybe, I don't know. We haven't finalized everything, but we do have big plans for the music of Pac-Man World 2.
Now, I'm not sure which person, because a lot of people are chatting, so it's hard for me to follow everything. But somebody was just saying, "Oh, can you include the trailer music? That would be so cool." And I said, "Let's stay in touch about it." If you guys, you know, I don't know exactly on the technology side how we do this all, but if we can kind of get everybody's usernames so we can reach out and we make, or maybe, I don't know, we give an email. I don't know. We'll figure this out in a minute. Maybe Bobby will have an idea how. I guess what I want to say is that if any of you who are here, okay, because you guys are the awesome people, okay, you guys are great. You showed up, you're here, you're chatting, and we're so grateful to you guys, really. And if you guys want to be involved in the process in any way, we would be happy to, you know, even if you just make a list of like, these are my favorite, like in the event that we can only record 3 tracks with a live orchestra, you know, like tell us your top 3 picks or whatever. We'll get you guys somehow involved in all of this, because without you guys, there is nothing. Zero. You guys are what is making this music live on. I mean, it's not zero. I mean, the soundtrack will always be part of that game, but the resurrection is only happening because of you guys. Does that make sense when I say that? So I don't know, Bobby. I don't know exactly how we, you know,
I
coordinate
think
getting
over the
them
course
involved.
of the next hour or so, I will figure something out.
Okay,
and
we'll figure something
post it.
out. But anybody who wants to, you know, get involved in some way, right? Okay,
I
so
mean-
yeah, go on.
They can always hit us up on Twitter, Instagram. You know.
Okay, yeah. So guys,
that's
reach
probably
out.
the fastest, easiest way to make sure everybody can somehow keep in touch.
That's
but
true.
we will definitely post something on our Instagram.
Very
and
good,
Twitter.
very good. So yeah, also if you go to orbsoundworks.com, we have a contact form there as well. So in the worst case, right? So there's lots of ways. So guys, if you want to get involved in this, in the subject line, when it says what is your subject, just write Pac-Man World 2 music, and then it'll get through to us very clear, as opposed to some of the other crap that we receive. Okay, guys, so there's that. So yeah, we have all these ideas that Emanuele and Bobby and myself, we sort of passing around the ideas. And so to be clear again, I wrote all the 100% my music of the original. What you're going to hear tonight on this stream is my one-to-one faithful recreation to the best that I can do, considering that my studio doesn't exist as it existed back then. And also back then, a little sort of technical thing I'll explain. We ran what were called virtual tracks. So traditionally you would record to tape, for example, whether it's analog or digital tape. Well, back in those days, we ran what were called virtual tracks, which meant your computer sent MIDI data to a sampler or synthesizer. The analog outputs of those synths went to your mixer, basically, okay? And then that would go through your master outputs, and then you would record onto a DAT tape. The problem with that method, which nobody really realized till many years later, is that once your software changes or you sold that sampler, your tracks are gone forever. Because you need that piece of gear in order to generate the audio. So yeah, this studio is totally different than, wait, where's that? Let's go back to, I mean, you could see physically that there's a lot more gear, right? Where are we here? Sorry guys, I'm also the operator. I'm trying to operate the video and everything. So you can see this, right? There's so many, look at all these samplers here. There's a wall of samplers, hardware samplers. So all down here, these are all samplers. These are all synthesizers, analog and digital. And this is all processing effects on this side. And then there's several I had 3 different computers all doing different things. It was insane. But now you can see the studio now is much more small. It's much more elegant. It's definitely streamlined. There's not as much of equipment as there used to be. And now it's all about your control surfaces, you know, how you physically want to control the devices. Now, I will also talk about the libraries because someone was asking about that. Now, just to be clear, you'll be very disappointed that many of the sounds are my own custom-made sounds. I made them, so they only exist in my world. But here's what I'm going to do. In fact, we'll do a breakdown because I think it'd be so much fun. I will explain to you precisely how I made specifically some of the rhythms, okay? Now, again, a lot of them are my own sounds, and I was a classically trained orchestral percussionist, and so I used a lot of snare drums. You can see I have a nice snare drum library behind me. Anyway, sorry. Inside joke for people who have sample library collections. Okay, so I don't know, Bobby. Where are we next?
Let's talk about the history of
Sure.
the soundtrack and the directive from Namco. How did these tunes become the tunes that
Right.
became so iconic?
Okay, yeah. I mean, let's see
And why?
here. Yeah. No, it's a good question. So yeah, so the head of R&D at Namco, his name was Yasunaguchi. Wonderful guy, super nice guy, and he and I developed a friendship, just through working together. And he even came down from San Francisco to my studio in Los Angeles, and in typical gamer fashion, we would sit there playing Soul Calibur all day. And then when the music had been written, he came down for like the last sort of final 2 weeks of mixing. And we would play Soul Calibur till like 6 o'clock in the morning. It was insane. And then like from 6 a.m. to noon, we would like actually do some mixing. At noon, we'd like pass out. We'd wake up around 2 o'clock, get a Tommy's Burger. If you know LA and Tommy's, you know Tommy's Burger, right? Tommy's Burgers?
Right.
Yeah. So just amazing. So he and I, early on, before he came down to LA, we had conversations about, now, first of all, Namco, and, in general, like Japanese companies, they're very, very particular about music. And, okay, I'll literally give you the directive because I'm getting all sidetracked. So first of all, there were these GDDs, and then there was music design documents as well. So GDD is a game design document, explains everything about the game. But then there were musical and sound design documents. There was a lot of detail about it. And he said to me, when we first had our meeting with Glenn Curtin, who was the producer of the game, Yas said to me, he said, I want the most tuneful, melodic melodies that can be made. He said, I want that the gamer, after they put the controller down and they go and have dinner, that they're whistling some melody, some catchy earworm. And but it has to be so memorable, iconic, and melodic that it is borderline annoying to them while they're playing. And it was that line in particular, that it should be borderline annoying. That was the line that got me. I'm like, damn, they really want like some serious melody. Now, here's the funny part. When somebody gives you that as a directive and then you go into the studio and you're starting the writing process, I'm trying to change the camera angle as I go here, not to get too boring. I'm having to be, running all this and be a video guy. Guys, this is not easy what I'm doing here, okay? All right. Anyway, so as I sat there in my studio, like imagine me, I'm there in my studio and, I'm like sitting there and I'm like sketching, melodies out. Oh, that's not a melodic instrument. Here, let's pull up a piano, shall we? I'll sort of explain a little bit of the process of how it all kind of started. So I got this incredible directive from Namco of what they wanted, borderline annoying, right? And so I'm sitting there before I even came up with. So I'm sitting there. I usually start with chords, not always, but sometimes. And so I was just sort of, I was thinking about, like what would be a good chord shape. I thought also what would be a good mode, meaning I wanted to do something in Mixolydian. And I'm just messing around and nothing really is coming about. I was doing sort of like what I'm doing here. And I just thought to myself, what is a melody that you like never forgot your whole life, that you had a trouble sort of letting go of? And I started thinking, because I grew up listening to a lot of ska, 80s ska music, and there was like the Clash, there were all these different bands out there. And I sort of thought about ideas that really kind of stuck with me, and still nothing really like pushed out. And then I don't know, started with that, and it's just like, nah. And then I thought, well, what if you go even further back, like, to like nursery rhymes, right? And I sort of thought about, bah, bah, meh, meh, like this sort of la 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 la, and da 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 na 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 na, like these kind of things, which nobody teaches you that, right? You don't learn that in school. Just somebody in the hall, bah, 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 nah, nah, nah. This idea, na 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 na, and then it just, and I knew I wanted it to be a classical melody. In the sense, by classical, I mean true classical, of the classical period, okay, which takes place roughly from about 1750 to 1820. This is the time of Mozart, Haydn, and the early part of Beethoven. Structurally classical, in other words, even symmetrical phrases. And that's, so I thought, and so all these things came, and then it just, I knew I wanted that. And that's it. It just came as I thought about all these different concepts and ideas. Is that, hopefully I successfully answered that.
Right. That was great. You mentioned the game design documents.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you have some of them.
I have them all.
Can we get? I know they're probably covered under NDAs. And
they
such, but
are.
Can we get a small little snippet of one of them just to show?
I don't know that I could
types of
put
things
it.
you get?
Yeah, I don't think I can put. I thought about it. I can't put it on the live stream because if I can't keep my word with a non-disclosure, what good am I to the industry? That's really how I feel about it. What I can do, maybe at a different time, is you know what? Let's move on from that because I gotta keep my word. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Like you guys, look. The reason I've shared it with you and Emanuele, you're my business partners, and you both signed non-disclosures with Orb Soundworks, and probably David Logan Music as well, which means you're protected under the same legal status. So I thought about it. I know we talked about maybe showing them. About all I could show is like the logo and the. You want to see that much? I guess I could show you that much. Let me.
I mean, I'm just impressed that you have a document from 25, 20
Listen,
or so years ago.
I keep the most impeccable records that you could ever humanly imagine. So look, here is. Let's just go over here. This is my desktop over here. And by the way, guys, in the chat, I'm so sorry. I'm literally not doing a very good job of following along, and I apologize, guys. Yes, Pac-Man World 2 is really classical at heart. It is, because let me just quickly address this because I don't want to ignore our lovely, lovely people in the audience. The reason classical music is classical and the reason that it has survived, 200, 300, 400 years later is literally the best of the best, right? Like, I think in 10,000 years, they're definitely not going to be talking about Britney Spears and Justin Bieber. They'll still talk about the Beatles because the Beatles are 100% classical music. Most pop music is. And by classical, I'm talking about melody-dominant homophonic music. Without getting too technical, that literally just means a set of chords with a melody. Da, da, da. That is melody dominant homophonic music, okay? Chords and melodies. So yes, it is. Now, let's go back to my hard drive here. Yes, I keep insanely impeccable records. My records are ridiculous. So I can show you the titles, okay? So these are the all the full motion video needs, an Excel sheet. This is the design document addendum. These are the final sound. Now this is not going to violate anything. This is literally just an Excel sheet that shows kind of how we tracked all the music and sound effects on the game. It's just a, revision history, all this kind of stuff. Then there's the music descriptions. And again, I'm not going to make the text legible. But you can see here, comes with the official Namco documentation, the region descriptions for music. This is another document. Again, I'm not going to go into any text that could be read. But regardless, yeah, I kept everything, you guys, like literally everything. I mean, when you do a AAA title like Pac-Man World 2, it's like you're going to hang on to that kind of stuff.
Right.
You sort of have to, because you never know. They could come around again. They might want a sequel. They might do Pac-Man World 2 repack and not call you. Oh, I'm not mad at all, Namco. No, I'm nothing but love in my heart. That's just... Yeah, okay, anyway. It's true. Hey, guys, I'm honored I got to do the original. Like, it is... You know what? It's not easy. And the way... Can I just tell the story a little bit about how it came to pass that I got this gig? So... The Japanese are, like I said, they're very particular and specific about music. And you have to understand that Japanese video game composers, they have a lot of power because they're the rock stars in many ways over there. I mean, sure, they have like pop stars and whatever, but game music in Japan is like a whole other thing. So the game composer on a game called Tales of Destiny in America, called Tales of Eternia in Japan, the composer, I guess, couldn't negotiate for the American release. They didn't pay him enough money. I don't know the story at all. I'm just speculating. Essentially, he wouldn't allow the rights to be given for the American release of Tales of Destiny, only for 2 tracks. The I think it was the opening FMV, which I could show you if you want to see it. It's so lovely because it's all like anime. It's wonderful. Anyway, and then the end credits music. So I was contracted by Namco because they have an office in San Francisco, just a stone's throw from LA. And I was asked to do just those 2 pieces of music. And from doing those 2 pieces of music, I met Yasunaguchi, I met Glenn Curtin, and these were my two main point of contacts on Pac-Man World 2. And they were just like, man, this worked out really well. We love how you work. We like how quickly you turn things around. Quality of your music is lovely. So we were thinking, would you be interested in doing our next full game? And I'm just like, I mean, what's the game? Because before, you see, in business, you don't just want to say yes, because it sort of appears like a little desperate. So I was just like, well, what's the game? Because, if it's some, game that I'm just not interested, I don't want to commit to it. And they were like, we would need you to sign a non-disclosure, but we can tell you the title. It's Pac-Man World 2. And my jaw just literally drops to the floor. And I had to like sort of maintain my cool in that moment. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I would be. I couldn't play cool. I'm like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, that would be like a dream come true for me. You don't know how addicted I was to like Pac-Man in the arcade during the days. And that's kind of the story of how I got the gig. Now, the only other thing I want to add is the day I started on Pac-Man World 2. Well, there's 2. One of them is a horrible story. I had they were going to fly me from LA to San Francisco. Okay. And guess what day? Specifically, it was September 1st, 2001. September 11th, 2001. Literally at 9 a.m., my flight was supposed to leave. And obviously I didn't fly that day. But how terrifying is that? So that's the one bad story. But then once, we sort of got through all that, and then we're like, we got to get to production, blah, 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 blah. In the mail from Namco arrives a CD-ROM. And guess what the CD-ROM had on it? All the original arcade sounds, every wave file from every arcade version of Pac-Man ever to that point. And guys, literally when I pulled it out, they're like, yeah, we're going to send you some sounds from the original Pac-Man. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. So when I like pull it out, I'm like, oh my God, when I popped it in my CD-ROM player and I saw what was on there and I started listening, I was just like, sort of like the heavens parted and like angels sang. It was like such a beautiful moment in my life. Anyway, so there you go. What's next?
All right. Let's go to some music, and then after
Sure.
that we can talk about some sound design and where that stuff came from.
Oh
That's
yeah,
interesting.
sure. All right,
Okay,
so
so I think Spooky Boss,
let's do the spooky boss. So first
and
of
then
all, yeah.
after that we can maybe take a look at the original files.
Oh yeah, from
Mac
OS 9, sure. So how about this? Because it's going to take a second to load the spooky boss. Well, first of all, while it's loading, I'll do two things.
And then, sorry, David.
Tell me.
While you do that, let's talk about how it all came about.
What
the
came
structure of the song and all that.
The structure of the
Of
spooky
music. Yeah, yeah. Structure, motifs, melody.
Yeah, I guess, well, for the spooky boss in particular, I guess, I'm trying to think here. Obviously, it's the final boss in the game, so I knew it had to be iconic. But the thing is, Spooky, he's like the big, scary, dark ghost. But it's Pac-Man, so I can't do anything like, dark and death-like. It's got to be fun, it's got to be lively. And, I guess I thought about the things that sort of about Spooky. Now, first of all, let's sort of talk a little bit about sound design as well, okay? And mostly, not so much the sound design of the sound effects, which also was done by David Logan Music, and I had some designers that I hired, but a lot of the primary ones were done by me. The movies were all done by me. But I think the important thing to understand about this is that I knew that I wanted to combine real musical instruments that we all know and can recognize, like a piano, like a trumpet, with things that were otherworldly. So other things. And you'll see, we got to listen to the Into the Volcano, man. That is so cool. You want to talk about sound design, we should look at that as well. Maybe briefly we can. All right, Spooky has been loaded. But I suppose that, in terms of how that went, I guess. Okay, so here, this is one of the main iconic sounds. I see Lisi is like losing her mind. But so that's kind of where it began. It began with that melody, So it's in G minor, which I love writing in G minor. And this we can thank John Williams, right? For those that don't know, right? Bum, 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 So these are the two chords that were really important Yes, Super Starman also did the sound effects for the game. Basically, everything you heard in that game was done by my studio. Now, I didn't do the voiceovers, but I did the processing on the voiceovers. So I made Spooky sound like a spooky big ghost. I'm glad you made that connection between the chord progressions. So yeah, the Imperial March. So, you know, this is, by the way, John Williams did not write that, okay? John Williams took that. He took it from so many composers, it's hard to list them all. Now, that's not bad. Okay, best Pac-Man OST ever. Thank you for saying that. You got to realize when somebody other than your mother or your girlfriend says they love your music, it's it has a slightly different meaning. All right, so John Williams did not write. In fact, if you just Google King's Row, starring Ronald Reagan, and you listen to the soundtrack of that, you will literally hear the entire Star Wars and Superman soundtrack. It's pretty incredible. Now, you know, Stravinsky says good composers imitate and great ones steal, right? And Picasso said good artist does not borrow, he steals, right? So this is all, you know, or good artists borrow, great ones steal. And then Steve Jobs stole that quote. You know, so everybody steals. There's no such thing as original. Yes, the stream will be available for sure. Don't worry. Anyway, if you just go to twitch.tv/David Logan Music, the stream will be posted there for sure. Anyway, so yeah, there's no such thing as original music, and I can prove this to you in a million ways, but that's a different conversation. So, but here's where I did something different. This is really different. This is much different than what John Williams did. This is where I took from the greats and then made it my own. So G minor is just G minor, right? But then I did this. I used a minor 7 chord, which, you know, comes from jazz. And so that's where I took from these great composers, but then was like, how do I make it mine? How do I put the David Logan spin on this melody, right? And that's what I chose. It's not that I chose it. It's just that's what... I very often will start with a melody. And that's probably what I did originally. I don't remember, but I probably did something like... Knowing me, I probably started that way. But then I thought, what can we do chordally instead of staying on that G minor? You know, and I probably I tried either... Yeah, I probably tried the G... the B flat minor. So I probably went... Oops. Which is also nice, isn't it? I mean, that's not a bad melody if you think about it. But I thought, nah, you know what? It's not... There's something missing. I didn't know what it was until I just started playing around. And I thought, well, why not do a little bit of something kind of jazzy? But you see, it's not on that note for so long. So it's hard to explain. You know, the funny thing is, nobody really knows exactly how composers sort of come up with things. They just do, you know? And so it's not, there's not like, you know, one specific way, like, okay, you must start with the melody and then go to the chords. It doesn't work that way. You search on your keyboard for answers, right? And, you know, I think Stravinsky also said that composition is a puzzle I create and then solve. Wonderful quote. So because look, for those that know any bit of music theory, you know, that's a tritone, right? It's got a very harsh sound to it. And I knew I wanted that in my melody, not the tritone. I knew melodically I wanted that shape. Staying on that G minor didn't quite work. It made it a diminished. I could have held on to the D, and that's also nice. But in the end, I suppose, that jazz chord just worked for me. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making any sense, or if I'm all
I
over
think
the
it makes
map.
sense, but I think it would also make sense to maybe let's listen to it.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
newer version.
The newer, updated version. All right, here we
Right.
go, folks. Let's make sure you guys can see everything on the screen. All right,
And
guys,
then maybe
here
talk
it is.
about like what's what on the screen.
Say again?
The different instruments.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. So anything in pink is drums and percussion. And by the way, this could be a very good track specifically to talk about how I created some of these instruments. Specifically because, you know, people were asking about what libraries and whatnot. Okay, so where do we begin? All right, so the anything in pink is drums and percussion. Anything in brown is either, it's a keyboard instrument of some kind. In this case, it's an accordion. Actually, I can just, you know what, let's do this. We'll just solo a few things. All right, there's some drums. Here's the accordions. You guys are too good, man. I love you all. Your comments are lovely. Thank you. I'm going to talk about the clean sounds in a minute. We'll get there. Of course, the iconic theremin. And I'm putting, you know, I'm adding some delays and, you know, reverbs to kind of, you know, open up that sound. These are some orchestra hits. Okay, these are spiccato strings. Alright, we got a tuba, some brass. What is the thumpkin? Ah, the thumpkin. That is my epic snare. You remember you don't remember. Back then, there were no epic percussion libraries. You had to make your own epic. So this is my own epic snare. And then we have to talk about this Bonham Asteroidal. We will get to the Bonham Asteroidal. My initials, David Aaron Logan, are the Dal. Asteroids, another game I did. And Bonham, the legendary drummer, which of course I have his little drum kit there. And because this is a custom made Orb sound, or back then it was David Logan Music, we'll talk about that. But let's go through the rest of these instruments. And then of course the solo violin. You've definitely heard that in my other music because back in those days, yeah, I used it on everything. So, all right. Then of course those lovely trombone slides. The panning, crazy panning, French horns. All right, there's no reverb on there. So a lot of this stuff is still in bad shape, guys. I apologize. I did the best I could to reproduce all this stuff. All right, so here we go, guys. Let's listen to, first of all, it's like a 6-minute track. We don't quite have time for all that. I'd say let's listen, I don't know, to the first 40.
And a half?
Well, I'm going to say that let's do it in sections because the very end is literally the most iconic and we have to hear that. So we'll do the first 40 seconds, maybe the middle. Here we go. so sorry to give you these little teasers, guys, but we have a lot of stuff to get through. Maybe we'll go like around here. Oh yeah, good stuff here. The mixing is so bad, you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry about that. Anyway, let's get... Where are we here? Because we got... Well, I love the breaks. Right. Okay, so this is like right before the very, very end. We'll go on a little more. Because, you know, of course I had to play the very, very ending, because that's like, how could I not play that ending? Am I right? So there's a little taste. And guys, the mixing is really bad. Like, just bad. It's objectively bad. And I'm sorry for that. Probably you guys are just excited to hear it all, which is wonderful. I'm happy you're happy. But, and you know, the remix of the original Pac-Man arcade music, I gotta say, when they asked me for like the semi-orchestral version of that, it was really like one of the happiest days of my whole life. Now, let's talk about some of the design specifically that was like, because as I said before, you know, some of this are things like piano, accordion, timpani, French horns, things that we all recognize. But I also wanted there to be some sounds that were really, especially in the drums and percussion, that were just my own unique kind of experience. And, you know, the best way to show this might be, can we just go to the Pinky Boss? Because, how about this? I'm going to load it up to talk about it, because I really think it's worth discussing, number one, because some people are asking about the libraries. And what I want to explain is that some of these sounds are uniquely my own creation from my brain. There are no libraries for any of this. And I want to kind of show that because I think it would be interesting to people. So while I'm loading that up, let's move on to other questions. Or, Emanuele, you said you had some questions.
I mean, yes, we have some questions, you know, like together. But overall, like I thought that it was interesting to talk about the sound effects, a little bit about the story.
Sure.
Because it's very interesting, I think, and I saw some comments that you know, some people think something, but it will be interesting to hear from you, like the whole history and what you did, and also that you have the only voice line in the whole game.
Yes. Well, okay, so like to be very, very, you know, sort of, I don't know, blunt about it, I don't get excited by sound effects. So it's kind of a chore to talk about. I will tell you the following things though. So the budget for Pac-Man World 2 was quite nice, which meant that, you know, I had, you know, a bit of money to hire some help, because I'm a really good sound designer. I used to enjoy it very much doing it, especially on Pac-Man World 2. But then at a certain point, you know, I sort of lost my passion for sound design, I guess, because I'm a composer. And sound effects is always something that is an add-on. You know, your client will ask you for music, and oh, by the way, can you do the sound effects? So I guess, so first of all, on a AAA video game project, you have roughly 2 to 3 months to do everything, which is, you know, in the case of Pac-Man World 2, I don't know, like 40 minutes of music. It's something like that. Can't remember exactly the number on that. And then there's like close to 300 sound effects. It's literally impossible for one person to do all that. And so I had to hire some help. So I had a couple sound designers that would come. I was supervising, but, you know, and I was the client liaison. And I'll say this, that I had some trouble with the first sound designer on that game. In fact, you know, Namco rejected almost everything he did. They just didn't like him. And, you know, I learned a very painful, expensive lesson. Don't hire a film sound designer to do a video game. I just thought, ooh, I got this a lot of money. I'm going to hire one of the best guys in Hollywood. And I did hire one of the best guys in Hollywood. But he was a film guy. He didn't know anything about games. And so it failed miserably. I guess, yeah, okay, so Pac-Man in Pac-Man World 2 does not speak. He has no spoken lines except for once, and it's me. And that's in the intro cutscene, the intro cinematic, the first sort of backstory to Pac-Man World 2. There's a scene where Pinky, who, by the way, is secretly in love with Pac-Man, she's peering through his window watching him sleep, and you see him snoring. And that's the only line. It's me going, you know, because, well, why not? In that same scene, you know, when you see the light being turned off and you hear, you know, that's just literally me recording my light turning off. There's a couple other scenes where I feel like this should be a separate stream, honestly, but there's some other scenes where the ghosts are going through these bushes and it's just me shaking a bush in my studio, you know. But I guess the most iconic sound for me in the whole game, other than obviously eating dots, is the butt bounce, right? Which is just a timpani. I'll do it for you right now. Oh, if that's provided, my timpani has pitch bend on it. Let's just check. I don't know if it does or doesn't. Let's find out. Oh, it does. All right, excellent. So the butt bounce, okay, is a timpani. Maybe, yeah. So it's just this. But I think I had a larger pitch bend. Something like this. And it's just so simple for those that remember the butt bounce sound. So simple. And I guess that's the point. Everything in this game is simple. Nothing is complicated when you break things down on the surface. Maybe when you go a little bit deeper, you know, things like specifically with this drum sound I want to share with you guys right now. So I think that might be the best, most iconic sound that I did for the whole series, was just that butt bounce. And again, it doesn't, because I would watch the movement, and even Yas and I would discuss it, and he would say, well, it's got to be more fun, but it can't be. This was the thing. This was the hard part. He would always say, it needs to be more fun, but it can't be cartoony. He didn't want it to be like a cartoon, the sound design, right? Probably in some Warner's Brother cartoon somewhere, I'm sure somebody thought of before I did. I mean, I'm sure of it. But anyway, he didn't think it was too cartoony. Plus, it works so well with that animation. For any of you who remember the game and played it and remember that sound, oh, sorry, FP! Oh my God, FP is here! Holy shit, my FP, my trumpet player in residence. Man, much love to you, sir. Thank you for coming. FP Trumpet, by the way, I call him my trumpet player in residence because whenever I need trumpet, live trumpet, I always go to FP Trumpet. He's we've been working together, I guess, 3 years now, I think, at least. Anyway, no way you made the butt bounce. I made the butt bounce. Sorry, I'm getting carried away. This is like things that people actually remember. It's so nice. But guys, do you like my Batman shirt? Psych. It's actually Darth Vader. Anyway, and it has an important message though. Always remember, kids, keep calm and use the force. Okay. So not everybody can say they made the butt bounce. Yeah, that's actually true, Miles. Okay, so listen, this Pinky Boss is loaded up, and I specifically wanted to go to this because I want to explain in detail, if that's all right. How are we for time? We're okay, right? Are we...
We're good.
We're good. Okay.
We're good. Yeah.
So, the butt bounce sound is iconic. It really helps sell the impact of the bounce. I gotta agree with you on that. And it's the most proud thing I did in the sound design. Sure, it's nice that I was the voice of Pac-Man going, but that's not really as iconic as the butt bounce. But yeah, that was 100% my sort of, I guess, crown achievement in sound design as far as, Pac-Man World 2 is concerned. So let's talk about this idea of making your own sound. Because I think this is, and you can hear my tone, it's getting a lot more serious. A lot of composers out there, they aspire to be composers, and they're always looking for, like, oh, if I just get this plugin, or if I just use this library and I can afford it, I'll be a great composer. Wrong. 100% wrong. You become a great composer by overcoming any obstacles that you have. Oh, I can't afford that plugin? Well, then I'm going to do something and rise above it. I can't afford that library? I'm going to make my own damn sounds. And I always say, if you do what you love, in other words, what originally brought you to music in the first place, if you can tap into that as a resource, you're gonna make your way to doing anything. And I want to show you, and Bobby, you give me the time on this. It's so important.
We're good. Let's see
Okay,
it.
because guys, this might be,
And then we'll go to Pinky's theme.
it's not just about the pinky, okay? I want everybody right now to quickly go on YouTube, because if I do this, we're going to get some copyright strike. And I want you to listen to the Led Zeppelin recording with John Bonham on drums of When the Levee Breaks, or As the Levee Breaks, okay? Just have a listen to that iconic drum beat. It's like... Well, I grew up idolizing John Bonham, and I grew up with Led Zeppelin. And that was one of the... That and the Beatles, and I mean... reggae, ska, it's all what shaped me. I idolized John Bonham, okay, to the point that I even bought the make and model snare drum that he played, okay? And this is the idea when you're young, like, oh, if I have the John Bonham snare, I'll be a great drummer. Wrong. Practicing, that's what makes you a great drummer. So let's take a moment now and talk about this. Because what I did, and I'm going to switch over here into Logic. What is this asteroidal DAL thing that I'm talking about? The Bonham asteroid DAL. Well, it actually sort of got its birthplace partly in asteroids, but partly in my training as an orchestral percussionist. So I trained, when I was younger, I wanted to be an orchestral timpanist and percussionist, but I also wanted to be a rock drummer, but I also wrote songs. I didn't know what to do. I was trying to find my way in the world, I suppose. Okay, so let's talk about this. So, first of all, let's look at and analyze this Bonham bits. Okay, the Bonham bits comes from this Bonham asteroid DAL. Now, what the hell is that? Well, back in the day, we used to take some of these iconic drum sounds and we chop them up. It's so hard to explain this actually, but we used to chop them up into little tiny pieces and then we would resample them. And let me just try to give you an example of this. Where are we here? I'm looking for the Superbank loops. Here we are. Okay, so where are we? Here we are. So John Bonham played this unbelievably iconic drum beat. I'll play you the beat, actually. We won't get a strike for this. Here's the beat. Now that's sped up. Okay. It's a drum sample, so, but just hear me out on this. So what I did back then was I chopped it up, here you can see, into 4 bits. Okay, remember these. This is going to be very important. What I eventually did was then cut them up even more. So I first started in 4, then I went to like 13. Don't ask me why. Now, this might not seem like very much to any of you, but what I did with the Bonham Asteroidal, first of all, that was first used on asteroids, but I brought it back for Pac-Man. Have a listen. Because here's, and let me turn off the processing also, so you can hear it as it was. So what I did was I used those John Bonham little pieces, those little bits, to make this drum beat. So what you can see is I'm using the drum sound of my idol, of John Bonham. I'm using his sound, his drum kit. But look, I'm making my own beat, my own rhythm. And look at all the velocity detail. Each color is a different strength of how hard I'm hitting the key. Now, hold on to your hat there, Miles Game Studio, because it gets better. That's step 1. Step 2 was I ran it through this is a software, but back in the day, it was actually a physical piece of hardware. Ran it through this H3000. Don't ask me to explain what that is, but you can see the original one right here that I actually used on Pac-Man World 2. I kept it. I never ever sold some pieces of equipment. So this is a software version of that. And the H3000 is what's called an ultra harmonizer. So here is with no harmonizer. When I click the blue button, okay, that means it's engaged. So this is a little bit of sound design that is turning that beat into something else. Now, here's the really cool bit. Remember what I said, that I was a classically trained orchestral percussionist? Well, I could play the snare drum like nobody's business. So this was me taking a live military snare drum that I played, and then I did the same thing. I chopped it up and made this. Whoa, I just gave away how it's used. My bad. Actually, I'm actually, well, sort of playing something wrong. Anyway, it's fine. And together we get this. And that is the main beat in the Pinky Boss. there you go. That is, guys, you are coming with these comments. They're so lovely and beautiful. Guys, it was one of the greatest honors of my life to do the soundtrack. It really was. And it means so much to me that you guys are so enthusiastic about this. And guys, this is just the first of many streams to come, okay? I promise we're going to do this again. In fact, Bobby and I and Emanuele, we were talking about making this like a regular thing, right?
Right.
This is just, and we can keep going if we have more time. I don't know where we are.
Well,
maybe
I
some
think we want
questions.
to at least get one more track and
Okay.
maybe show the original sequencer files.
The original
That might be a little-
what?
The
Oh, the
original
Studio
sequencer
Vision
files.
file. Yeah. Let's look
Right.
at that real quick because I have that. Oh, wait, it's
See
not
what the
quite.
world looked like 25 years ago.
Yeah. So, guys, I have this
Really cool.
OS9 emulator. And so I'm going to show you what the Pac-Man World 2 actually looked like in my studio back in the day. So, yes, let's take a look at that as well. What track did we want to do next? How about this? Let's vote in the chat. I'm only on the Twitch chat. I'm sorry if you're on YouTube or Facebook. Vote
I'll
for.
see YouTube.
What's that?
I will see the YouTube, and I'll vote for
All
them.
right. You'll vote personally? Excellent.
Yes. For them.
I'll take the Ghost Boss Studio Vision file from way back in the day because that was one of the most complex tracks in the whole game. Well, it was also the final boss. So just loading that now while we wait for people in the chat to make the Blade Mountain. I mean, that's pretty good, Blade Mountain. Yeah, I got it. Bedoing Woods would be cool, as it would. We have two Bedoing. We have three Bedoing. Oh, I think it's Bedoing.
That seems to be a favorite.
I think we're going with Bedoing. Bobby, was that your vote too?
Well, there's one in the YouTube chat. The Bear.
There's
Basics.
another Bedoing. Everybody
looks like it's
saying
gonna be
Blade
Bedoing.
Mountain. Guys, listen, I can keep going. I'll if you want, we can do. What's your vote, Bobby?
I will vote for. We didn't do the prologue, did we?
Yeah,
Oh, no,
we did the prologue. We
did,
started
did.
with the prologue. Yeah.
Not the prologue. Should have to look at the names of the tracks now.
I would say the Bedoing is a
Let's
perfect
do the
choice.
Bedoing. We're
I
doing.
think Bedoing is yeah.
Okay, we're not going to do the bare basics because it's so close to the prologue, and we did the prologue, and thematically they're exactly the same. So I'm going to vote against bare basics. We love you, Embrez, but we already did the prologue, and it's so similar. But everybody is voting for the Bedoing, and so we're doing the Bedoing. That's just how it goes. But if we keep doing this, and you want to hear it next time, we certainly can. Guys, listen, get in touch with us in the Orb Soundworks in our website, and we will continue. Everybody that wants me to break these tracks down, if you guys come, we'll keep streaming about this, okay? No problem, you guys. Okay, let me get the Bedoing. Oh, you guys, you don't know how hard I had to work to pull this all together. And the thing is, I worked feverishly because for today specifically, I wanted to have every single level 1 of all 6 worlds and every single boss of all 6 worlds. I wanted that finished because we didn't know who was going to ask for what. So your work is full respect. Thank you. I mean, guys, this is... Oh, so Lisi, I hope I'm saying your name right. The intro cutscene I have not resurrected, but I will. And now you hear double voice. Please do not be alarmed. This is because... Oh, where are we? Here we are. This is from an old... Anyway, it doesn't matter. Fixed. But Lisi, if you come back...
I think your audio is gone.
It's... Oh. It's gone? And now it's back. Why? Okay, hang on, guys. in the stream, can you hear me right now? Or am I gone? Check 1, 2, check, check, check. I should still be
I
there.
don't hear you.
You don't hear me. Okay, let's see what the hell's going on.
Aha, so on the stream.
The stream should hear me, yes? Streaming, people who are on the stream, can you hear me now? We got you over on Twitch. Twitch is good. All right. I think it's just maybe on the local Zoom call. Regardless, if they can hear me on the stream, we're good. Okay, good. You guys can hear me. So yeah, Lisi, if you come back, that's on my list of things I want to do. Yeah, the intro cutscene is I mean, that is some of the best music in Pac-Man also. I mean, damn. All right, let's go to the Bedoing. We're here for the Bedoing, aren't we? So let's jump right in. Here we go. Sorry to cut you off. Do you see me trying to do like a music video style editing? I was trying to in real time with my Stream Deck, trying to get those Pac-Man logos on and off. Okay, so listen, I'm really happy that somebody said, who said it? I don't remember who said it, but I really like that whistling kind of a sound. Well, the reason why you're not sure what sound it is because, again, I was taking natural instruments and mixing them with things in ways that they weren't sort of meant to be, I suppose. So, for example, if we just go in, let's go in and we'll talk about some of how that was accomplished. So, let's just listen. These are all woodwinds. See that? It's not. You don't really know exactly what instrument it is, especially. Right? You don't know. Why? Well, because part of it is that I'm taking this bassoon here, right? And I'm playing it way out of the range. That's way at an unnatural range for the bassoon. And then in unison, you've got the clarinet and the oboe. So it's strange, it's otherworldly. Now, the other thing is that whole melody is being doubled with a kalimba as well. And that's giving it a bit of attack, right? And the kalimba and marimba are both featured. And for example, I have 3 different marimbas in here. So rhythmic. And you know what, guys? Rhythm is always at the heart. Everything I do. You know that this whole thing started with one of my live drum loops. It's called Dal Samba. And again, this is me playing live, and then I chop it up into little pieces. Anyway, here's the beat. Okay. And then I added this surdu. Hi-hats. Don't sample my beats. Make your own beats. And this is my whole point, you guys. There's no drum loops in here. The Dal Samba, here, I'll play you the original, and then you can decide, you know, how much of a loop it is or not. When I say there's no loops, I mean there's a loop, the Dal Samba loop, but that's me. I'm playing that beat, right? Let's see here. Where are we? We would be in percussion. We would go to loops. Dal Samba, no feet. It's only chopped. I don't have the full version. Wait, let's see. Let's see if I can find. Let's see if I can find the original. Maybe here. Nope. Too old. Oh, wait. Here we go. Okay, here's the original as I played it. So that's literally me with one microphone in 1995 playing this, which then becomes this. So you can hear I made it like brighter and cleaner, added this, and that gives us the basis of our beat. But I guess the point is, you don't really notice very much the marimbas, but listen to the rhythm with, well, here, let's do this. Let's solo and listen to the marimbas with just the bass of the drums. Throw on that kalimba melody on the top. Okay, now the horns. Somebody was asking about the horns. This is a library. First of all, the chords are, obviously these are my chords. I wrote the chords. But the actual instruments playing these chords is from a library called, oh, what was it called? I forgot the name of it. Super Brass Section. That's what it was called. Super Brass Section. And there's no round robins. It's all like one sample per note. But they're great. They sound amazing. See, on their own, they're like, okay, they're all right. Oh, I did sweeten them with a modern library, and this is called Session Horns Pro. This is a modern library. But here, let's do this. Let's listen. I will mute that so you can just hear them only with the super brass. Okay, here we go. There it is. And then when you add the session horns, it doesn't change it so much, I don't think. Changes it a little bit, maybe gives it a bit of presence. And this is one of the first tracks I brought back to life. And I added the session horns, and then I thought, you know what, you shouldn't do this. Bring it back as it was originally. Stop doing this, making it better. So far, everything you've heard until this very moment was 100% the authentic original. Let's mute that so that I can stay true to the original. See, it's all like rhythm is at the center of my world. Everything I do, it's always about rhythm. I kind of see the orchestra as just like a giant drum set. So I don't know. Where are we now? What's next?
I think we should show the OS 9.
Oh yeah, let's look at the OS 9. All right, let's do that. So hopefully that loaded. There we are. Excellent. All right, so here it is, guys. This is what the Spooky Boss looked like in the year 2001. This is called Studio Vision Pro, and this was my sequencer. It wasn't even called a DAW back then. It's just called a sequencer. And this is all the MIDI data. And this MIDI data would get played into, you know, all the, you know, the various pieces of equipment, the analog equipment. And this is what it looked like. This is it. This is what everything was created on back then. Studio Vision Pro. Whoops. Sorry about that. Hang on. I'm trying to make this a little bigger. I don't know. It won't let me resize the window. I don't know why. But, all right. That's about as big as it'll go. Anyway, there it is. This is nothing terribly exciting. This is the name of the track over here. This is how long each track is. This is the instrument in my MIDI setup. This is the name of each one of the instruments, and then the patch numbers, and then there's actually what I played. And then these dots here are like volume information. These are actual note information, and for example, you would double click on the note information, and then it would give you the note editor, etc., etc. And it's very archaic when I look at it now, but back in the day, man, I cannot tell you how advanced it was for its time. Yeah, so that's OS 9. Maybe we do a little bit of questions from the stream. If anyone has questions on the stream that you want to ask me or Bobby or Manuele or anyone, if you have any questions, we're happy to take a few. Bobby, is there anything else on our...
I think we can talk about, where did it go? The repack, the music.
Oh, repack. Let's talk about repack. Yes.
Right.
What do you want to talk about specifically?
Well, what are your thoughts? What you know, you only heard.
Well, I have a couple of questions. So overall, what did you think? For example, when you saw the trailer, and on the trailer, some of your original music was used, and then it felt like, you know, that it wasn't your original music anymore. It was the same music, but they changed something.
Yeah.
So overall, how did you feel a little bit about that? And yes, what do you think about it? And maybe what do you think as far as what we have listened? So not so much at the end of the day, like what you would have done maybe differently. Like how would you do a repack?
Yeah. Well, to answer how would I do a repack, I mean, that's a whole... Well, I would take exactly what I've done so far up to this point, and then I would kind of, well, maybe do it with a live orchestra, for example, you know, or live overdubs with an orchestra. But to your first question, I suppose I have very mixed feelings. Okay, obviously I'm excited about Pac-Man World 2 repack. I'm very excited. As far as the music I've heard that they've done so far, yes, some of the music was my original from the original soundtrack, but only just like the shortest little amounts, hardly any. The majority of what they did, they had some other team, I don't know, in maybe Namco, San Francisco, or Japan, I don't know where, redo my music. And I mean, I got to be very, very honest. I do not think they did it justice. I really don't. With all due respect to whoever did that, it sounds very clean and sounds very well put together. But they used the wrong chords. For example, there's one or two places where the melody is over the wrong chord, and it just sounds terrible to the person who wrote the music originally. So the fact that their team didn't have that level of respect for the source material, I find that, I mean, just they should have consulted me. They should have reached out. I reached out to them, and it's very disappointing. And I'll say why. Because I can say with, I don't know, you know what, in the audience, help me with this one. I'm going to say with like 98% accuracy that Pac-Man World 2, without my ego involved, has the best music of any Pac-Man game. And I say this not because I think my music is so great, but because of all the comments say so. People who don't even know me. Look at all the people who have remade my music. How many people have... There's even a guy who arranged it for 30 acoustic guitars. I mean, it's a beloved soundtrack, and they should have reached out, man. It's too important. Now, my hope is that in the actual gameplay, these were just the trailers. My hope is that with the gameplay, maybe, I don't know, maybe they remastered it or did something on top. Like, I don't know. So I don't know enough. Now, I did hear another trailer and I felt it was better. But you see, for example, they used a section. Remember those drum sounds I was showing you? That is 100% uniquely me. There's literally only one person on earth that can do that, and it's me. Because I'm playing live, I'm then chopping, rearranging, adding other things. So they have no idea how those drums were made. You can't just pull up your drum machine and then play some beat. It's literally all about feel. Drums are about feel. And I guess what is missing in the music I heard was the feel. Some of the feel just wasn't there. And there was like one or two places where they were playing the wrong chord under the melody, and it was really upsetting to me. Very upsetting. But I'm trying to also sort of see, well, it's repack, it's their game, it's not my game. It's not technically my music anymore. It belongs to Namco, so they can do what they want. But I don't think I'm excited for the game. I pre-ordered it, but I guess let's just say this. 100% without any doubt, there's no one who can do a better repack music than me, because I have all the master files. I have the master MIDI data. I have every single sound that went into that game. I played almost all of the drum parts using my own custom samples. That's another thing I failed to mention. Every single time you hear drum kit, those are my custom made drum samples that I made, not every single time, but most times. So I don't know. I got mixed feelings, man. Like, I just feel that, here's what I feel. I feel that they technically put in the iconic melodies that I originally composed, and sort of like they did their job, because they knew if they did different music, the fans would be upset. That's how I feel, honestly. That's my feeling about it. But I'm curious to know from the audience here on anybody watching the stream, what did you think of the music in the announcement trailer? And again, you know what I think, to be fair to the team that wrote that music, or not wrote the music, but reconditioned my music, to be fair to them, like, I haven't really heard enough to be able to pass, complete judgment yet. And I'll know when I get the game and I start to play it. Ping Dan.
Hey,
Love your music.
There's a question. What
Yeah.
sampler did you use in the OST?
Say again.
What sampler did you use in the original?
Oh, so the samplers, there were several. I used a company called DigiDesign, who made Pro Tools. They're now called, or Avid bought them out. And so I used their product called Sample Cell, which had a TDM bridge to your Pro Tools. So basically allowed your samples to be processed through your Pro Tools rig, which was really advanced. I mean, I can't tell you how advanced that was back in the day. Now it's like nothing, but because we have Logic. So that was one. The main one was Sample Cell. The other is still here. The other two. So down there, you can see where I'm pointing. That's the Akai S6000 and the Kurzweil K2500, and they're all hooked up, man. I mean, I can even power these on still. You can see that blue light is now on there. That's from the Kurzweil. Oh, the fans are so noisy though. I'm totally turning this off. That was like a bad idea. Anyway, everyone's like, do those things even work? It's like, actually, yes. Every single thing is hooked up, has power, and MIDI. It's insane. Because I had to transfer for this stream, I had to record from some of those old machines. So, the Akai S6000. So I had 4 Akai S6000s, 1 Kurzweil K2500. I had the Emulator 64. And you could consider the XV5080 a sampler because it was both a sampler and a synth. So yeah, it's a lot of synths. I mean, a lot of samplers. So 4 Akais, the EMU, K2500, 4 Sample Cell 2 cards. That's already a 10. The ESI 2000 as well. Holy cow. And then if you consider the XV80, which you can, 12 samplers in all. But guys, back then, to do professional work, and again, let's just go quickly here, you needed all that. Like if you wanted to do work professionally, you look, there it is. 1, 2, 3 of the Akai S6000. You can see the front plate to the bottom one there is missing because it's over here. And you could detach the faceplate. And then there, I had a 4th one, but I don't see it in the picture. It was the S5000 though, not the 6000. Look, those are all my CD-ROM drives and everything. That's the Super Jupiter, or the Jupiter 8, but rack mounted. Oh, it's hard to see with all that chat overlaid. I'll just give me 1 second here, and I will bring the chat right back. I swear. So there's the ESI 2000, that's the K2500, that's the XV5080. These are all the MIDI interfaces. There's the Virus. It's a synth called the Virus, by the way. It's not an actual virus like a computer virus. And yeah, that you needed all that stuff. If you wanted to be, a professional anything, let me turn chat back on. You had to have all this equipment. Now you just need a laptop. That's it. You need a laptop and you're good to go. That's it. That's all you need now. It's insane. It's insane. Yeah. So where
All right,
are
David,
we here?
I think we can take a look at some of the outtakes.
Oh, the outtakes. Right. Holy cow. So you guys, can I get a drum roll, please? Funny enough, ironically, I don't actually have a drum that I can do a roll on. What you guys are about to hear for the very first time ever, including Bobby and Emanuele. In other words, the only person who has ever heard what you're about to hear is me. Oh, then we have to do the music inspired by. That's even cooler, which we'll do. But first, I give you Pac-Man World 2, the outtakes. These were the tracks that Namco rejected. So interesting. Here we go. Again, this is a world premiere of the rejected Pac-Man World 2 music. Now, where is it? After all that big introduction. I know where it is. It's just I don't have it in front of me. I need to go. I need to go where? Into the reboot. Oh man. After all that excitement and then I don't have it handy. I know exactly where it is now. All right, hold on. It's coming. It's coming. I swear, because now I know precisely where is it. All right. I need to log on to this guy over here and grab this. Go here, and here, and the outtakes. Excellent. All right, guys, and I haven't heard these in forever. So, whoops. Hang on a second here. Let's go. All right, here we go. You're gonna hear Rejected music by Namco. These are all the now. Some of these are like bosses or rewrites that didn't quite make it. There's not a lot of original stuff. What I will say is the lava music. You guys remember all the Into the Volcano? Let's do this quickly before I play the outtake for Into the Volcano. Let's just refresh our memories, okay? For Into the Volcano. Remember, it's light. It's like taking a stroll in the park, but it's lava. Oops, wrong one. Wait, let me do this like this. Here we go. Right? Okay, so that is the original from the original soundtrack. Yes, I now give you the rejected original version. Here it is. Totally different. Well, that was the problem. It was a little sad. They wanted it to be brighter and happier. They said this is too dark. Still a good track though. Wow. Oh, okay. Here's Rejected Ocean music. It's so cute and adorable. All right, here is Rejected Pond music, but it's hilarious, man.
Yeah, it's a different perspective.
It's pensive and sad. They were like, it's too mellow. Now, let me find, because I know somewhere I have... Oh, man. Oh, I think it's this one. This might be the one. I love this track, and it got rejected. Lisi, there is a whole graveyard of music that gets rejected by these companies. You have no idea how many tracks I have done that have been rejected. It's insane. But I love that track, and I don't know what it was for, but it got rejected. Let's see. Oh my god, there's so many ponds. Like, you have no idea how many times I had to do the pond before I finally wound up there. There's a boss, early boss. Oh, let's wait. Let's get that a little bit more like this. You should recognize this, no? It's the primitive version. Upload everything. I will not be uploading everything, but this just gives you a little bit of a taste. But guys, I have something way more exciting. Can you believe how exciting, if it's more exciting than outtakes? So in 2021, for the 20th anniversary, I planned to do something really big. It just didn't ever come to pass. But what I did is I wrote music. You know how some people do music inspired by X, Y, and Z? So I did music inspired by Pac-Man World 2, by the composer of Pac-Man World 2. So you're going to hear original music, and you'll recognize all the instruments, but it's new music that has never, ever, there's only one other person. Well, actually, that's not true, because I did this on a live stream, so you can probably find them. But since then, you guys are hearing it for the first time. All right, so let's do this. I'm looking for, there it is. All right, guys, and I came up with these strange titles. This one is called In the Trees. Wonder what that could be based on. Oh, this part is also cool. Anyway, that's one. Here's another one. Recognize the flute? There it is. Yeah, I mean, distorted reality was one of the many sample libraries that, you know, a lot of people had back in the day. And for sure, I definitely used those because they were very otherworldly. And they still sound great, you know. I mean, they're still great. Here's yet another one. Okay, do you recognize these drum sounds? You can't recognize them because every single one of those sounds was made by me, including me hitting a drumstick on a ladder, on a painting ladder. So, you know, sometimes you use from a library, sometimes you use your own, and many, more oftentimes than not, I would combine the two. So, let's see, that was written in 2021, yes. And guys, if there's interest, I can resurrect all this stuff. We can continue to work on it together. We can do these streams regularly. And maybe we'll even make like a regular time and day. And you guys can come back and I'll work on it. One thing I do want to show you all that I'm very proud of, and they don't do this anymore, and I don't know why. It's something I'm very proud of, and it's something that is now gone. They don't do this anymore in games. And what I want to show you, because it can never, ever be taken away from me. Here it is. Yep. They don't do this anymore, guys. They don't do this anymore. They don't print your name in the frickin' book.
Yes.
Those days are gone. And you want to know how good that would feel? You would do a game and your name would be in there. And when I say they can't take that away from me, it means it's a permanent record. And Jared and I were having a call the other day, and, you know, or we were, sorry, I think in the group chat with Emmanuel and Bobby, and he was saying that the original team on Pac-Man World 1 repack, they didn't credit the composers, apparently. Now, the community got very upset about it, and there was backlash, and I guess they made an addendum, or they updated, made a patch, and then gave them credits in the final digital credit roll or whatever it was. Yeah, well, you know, this is the thing, man. They don't do this anymore. They don't print the books anymore. And they can't take that away from me. I will forever be associated. Anyway, he was saying that, you know, he warned me about that happening. He said, because, you know, if in 1,000 years somebody gets Pac-Man World 2 repack and you don't get the proper credit. And I thought, well, anybody who cares that much about Pac-Man World 2 in 1,000 years will probably have found this. So anyway, there it is, guys. There's my name. And it felt so damn good. And they don't do that anymore. They don't do that anymore. And it's a very big shame. It's very sad, because especially the artists are the ones that make games what they are, man. You know, can you imagine like Resident Evil 4 without like the most talented artists on earth creating one of the most visually breathtakingly beautiful games ever made? Like, for back in the day when that game came out, RE4, holy cow, man. Don't get me started talking about that game, by the way. It's my favorite game of all time. So, how are we doing on the chat? I'm so sorry, guys, if I'm not replying to all of your chats. Do you have advice for a new composer? Oh, do I ever have advice? My advice for new composers is fairly simple. If you want to become a professional composer, artist, lyric writer, doesn't matter, film producer or director, there's only one rule you have to follow, and it's the simplest one of all. Never give up. Literally, just don't give up. I never gave up. And, you know, it was that attitude that brought me eventually to landing things like Pac-Man World 2. You start off small, but always do what you love. See, this is what people don't understand. My very first AAA game was Pitfall 3D. I think there were like 30 other composers that were trying to get that same gig, and they went with me, not because I'm a better composer. It's because I was a better drummer and a composer. Because it's Pitfall 3D. It's jungle. It's tribal. I mean, Pitfall 3D was actually beyond the jungle, but they still needed that tribal, rhythmic, heavy drumming. And I had it. And everybody else who wrote music for that game, trying to win that account with Activision, wrote perfectly good music. But it didn't have that tribal drumming. Because you have to understand, I studied percussion. And every kind of percussion humanly imaginable. I mean, everything. Brazilian, Afro-Cuban, West African, I mean, Asian. I studied everything, you guys, in percussion. And I was classically trained. And I played rock drums. So my sense of rhythm, I mean, like it was just something else, I really think. It was that love of my rhythm and my drumming that made me compose the way that I compose. I still compose the same way, always with rhythm. Even my melodic ideas have rhythm, Manuela and I, we worked on a project years ago. I guess it was 2017, the Bloody Gescald. And I remember there was like this horn line in one of the tracks that went bum, 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 bum. And I remember telling you, dude, that just comes from me drumming. Because if you take the same idea, la, 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 it's just, it just literally comes from my whole sense of drumming. And this is a project Manuela and I worked on, I guess. Oh my God, 2017 was like
it was about a while ago.
7 years back now. Holy cow. Anyway, my advice is do what you love. If you write music and you're a violinist, make it based on violin music. Okay? If you're a drummer and you want to write music, make it based on drums. Whatever it was that first brought you to music, whatever that was. Like, in other words, if you were a French horn player that brought you into composing and you never played French horn again, pick up the French horn and start making some melodies. I guarantee you that's going to lead you somewhere. So my advice, never give up. Do what you love. What's that famous saying? Dance like there's nobody watching. You got to do that. You got to dance like nobody's watching. And, and there's another one. I can't remember what it is, but when you look at people dancing their asses off, but you don't hear the music, they appear like they're insane people. I don't know. It's from somewhere, something. Maybe I saw it on a TV show. I don't know. So my advice is don't give up ever and do what you love and be fearless. Guys, be fearless, okay? Wait for it. Wait for it. This is a tattoo. And I got that tattoo. It says fear consumes passion. And because this is a lyric from a song I wrote many, many years ago, Fear Consumes Passion. Because it is only our fear that destroys our passions. Nothing else. It's not anyone else but ourselves. We are our worst enemies. Absolutely. So don't let your fear destroy the passion for what you love. And most importantly, don't listen to the haters. Guys, you can't imagine. Everybody loves to just hate on others. Or there's a word, actually, a friend of mine, German, was telling me, we actually have a word for taking pleasure in the misfortunes of other people. I don't remember the word, but don't be like, there's people like that. Don't get taken down by them. That's my advice. I hope that's good. I hope I'm not too late to ask this question, but for the finalized songs in Pac-Man World 2, did you take some inspiration from music and sound of prior? No. And they sent it to me. They sent me Pac-Man World 1. I refused to listen to it. I refused. That was from Tommy Tallarico. Oh, funny story. So Tommy Tallarico Studios did Pac-Man World 1. he had two other composers under him, but it was done by Tommy Tallarico Studios. And one year, he and I were hanging out at GDC. We're just talking, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, so what are you working on, Logan? And I'm like, oh, this is awkward. And he's like, why is it awkward? What are you working on? I was like, oh, well, you're going to find out anyway. Pac-Man World 2. And he's like, so you're the motherfucker that got that? And I'm like, I'm the motherfucker that got that. It's my only good, funny Tommy Tallarico story. But, you know, he's a little older than me, but he's a legend. I mean, that guy's like, psh, he's a legend in the industry, man. And every year at GDC and E3, he would have these gold sequin suits. Like, he was such a inspiring character, in fact, you know. And he was fearless. He was fearless. Okay, I'll say that. So yeah, it's crazy. That's so no, I did not. I refused to listen to Pac-Man World 1. Refused. And no, I did not take any inspiration from any other games. You know, as a composer, you spend most of your life taking inspiration from other composers. But at a certain point, you have to put it down. Now, inevitably, it will creep back in. But like the Imperial March chords from John Williams, my second chord turned into a jazz chord. And that's how I made it mine. Yeah? Adding jazz to the Imperial March. Oh, you didn't. I always thought the main melody of the game's theme song sounded vaguely similar to the iconic intro of the arcade game. No, I did not. I did not take any inspiration. I was trying to make the most, because you were probably not here for the first half, but they wanted me to make these melodies that would be memorable. So if somebody was taking a shower the next morning, they would still be singing the song from the night before when they were playing the game. That was the directive I got. So people who've done research said he took credit from other look, you know what, composers taking credit for the work of other people is time-honored tradition, man. It's just something that is done, and if you're on the other side, you understand why that has to happen. It's not evil at all, and I can explain it to you. I was once working on a project that was so big, I just literally didn't have time. Well, okay, look, I hired several sound designers on Pac-Man World 2 because I didn't have the time to do it all myself. But it was my gig, okay? These were people who were very fortunate to even get a position. And I'm not obligated to give them credit because at the end of the day, everything they're doing is what I can do it anyway. It's just literally the only thing I don't have is the time. I can definitely say with 100% certainty, I have never, ever had a ghostwriter for me. Never. So 100% of everything you've ever heard is 100% mine. No exceptions to this. None. There's one little, it's not even. It's just this friend of mine once played me this thing and I always remembered it. But we were 15 years old. 15 years old. What do you want? And I somehow still remembered the riff, you know, which became one of the main ideas. I didn't use exactly the riff. Became one of the main ideas I used in Legion, the Legend of Excalibur. But we were 15 years old. We were jamming on guitar. And I'm like, oh, I like that. It's like, oh, it just goes like this. And I'm like this? Yeah. And then I remembered it. What do you want? Yeah, listen, man. Composers look, do you think Hans Zimmer honestly can write music as well as he does? I mean, I don't think so. I think he has I know for a fact, he's got a massive team. It's not he's the greatest. I think in 10,000 years, he will still be remembered. But as a pure raw composer, I'm sorry. It's just like Bernard Herrmann can bury Hans Zimmer alive. You know what I'm saying? There's just so many other. John Williams can bury just about anybody alive. Okay. Bach buries everybody alive, you know. I mean, I'm like this big on the scale. I'm like a little ant, you know. And I love Hans Zimmer. I love everything that he has put out. Gladiator is still one of my favorite soundtracks of all time and probably always will be. But I personally know people who worked at Media Ventures, his big conglomerate. And it's just how the Hollywood system goes. And there's nothing wrong with it. I don't feel it's like some injustice that has been done. But in the end, these two guys at his studio, they got credit for doing the music in Pac-Man World 1, right? So all is well that ends well. Am I right? So what else, guys? Anything else before we wrap things up? Bobby, are we about at wrap-up time?
I think, yeah. I think this is the time we're at a little bit over 2 hours. I think we should save some things for the next several streams.
So guys,
so we have a lot to go over.
There's a lot to go over, yeah. And I'm so happy. This went so well, you guys. And literally, without you, you know what's so funny? I streamed for about 3 years, and I could never get an audience or a chat like this. Bobby, you were there.
Right.
You were there.
Yeah.
I never got even close to what we have now. And this is what I was trying to build towards. Man, if I had known this sooner, I would have just cracked open the Pac-Man sooner. So, well, anyway, guys, wondering the same question too. What was the question? Have you ever played the E3 2001 demo? Which E3 2001 demo are you talking about? I know that my music was featured in the E3 2001 demo. Yeah, that was always my music. In fact, I was there at the Namco booth playing the demo with my music in it. And I have a photo of that. I even had little dreadlocks. I was trying to grow dreadlocks. Don't ask me why. Really, really kind of funny. Yeah, it was all my music in the 2001 demo. And I have a photo. Oh, man, I should find the photo for the next one, yeah? But I have a photo of me at the Namco booth. And yeah, so yes, that was all my music. What can you tell us about the E3 demo? Well, we're kind of trying to wrap it up. I can't tell you much other than I was there. I have a photo of me in leather pants and like dreadlocks, being very Hollywood, I suppose. What do you want? I was 30. Guys, listen. This has been so much fun. I cannot wait to do this again. Now, I want to vote from everybody in the audience there. Just vote. Do you want a regular scheduled Pac-Man World stream? So like every week at the same time so that you know, and is it around this time? Is this the preferred time? And Bobby and Emanuele can vote as well. Answers yes. Sure. Seconding. I think so, yeah. Okay, great time for you. All right, cool. Well, listen, for everybody who came tonight, I'm so sorry if I didn't answer all the questions. But I can safely say I'll be here, same time, same place next week. All right? And we'll continue the party. And I think, Bobby, Emanuele, and I will come up with sort of a loose format. So we'll make it a certain length of time. I think we can spend a certain amount of time, playing the old classics and exposing more of the rebuild. I think we can spend a little bit of time me repacking. So actually, how would I do it better? Yeah. And a bit of time doing those original, like pull up those original tracks I was working on. And I'll write some new music based on Pac-Man. It'll be so much fun. Guys, this has been so wonderful. You're welcome for me sharing my stories. And guys, this is all only possible because of you guys, because you love the music still. So on behalf of me and my team at Orb Soundworks, the two best guys on planet Earth, giving an Orb Soundworks here, a little shout out here. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I don't even want to sign off. I'm so happy. But I guess that's it. Oh, you know what we got to do, Bobby? we gotta get my end credits music because it's been broken. I cannot tell you how long it's been broken. Where is it? Here it is. Wait, I'll be right back, I swear. It just does a big black. It doesn't actually. So we got to fix that. Yes, you agree?
Yes.
Because if we're going to be streaming again, although instead of making it Star Wars themed, maybe we do a Pac-Man World 2 themed end credits.
Ah,
right?
Yeah.
So cool. All right, guys, I will be here in exactly 1 week from today. And I guess I will stop the stream, and I suppose Emanuele and Bobby will just have a quick little post-mortem, and I don't know, that's about all, I suppose. So guys, thank you again, and let me just find OBS because it's like buried beneath a million layers here. Where is OBS? Here we are. There we are. Excellent. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I will see you in exactly 1 week. And thank you all again. Like, you don't know how much this has meant to me. Seriously, you guys are amazing, because if you didn't love this music, I wouldn't be doing this at all. And again, a special thank you to Jared and to Emanuele and Bobby, who are all responsible in different ways for getting this all to happen again. So thank you guys so much. And I'll see you guys in 1 week. Okay, take care.